Hello and welcome back to another Dreamscape video, and in today's video we're going to be going just over how to set up the game for Untap, as well as just trying to clear up some, if any, possible confusion about the rules of how to play the game. And if you don't already know, the game is available to play online. You guys can download the codes, which I'll be just going through this video, put them in Untap and play against each other, as well as I would love to play a game against you guys, especially since there is a multiplayer format still in like beta or just in the construction period right now. There's still a lot of tests that need to be done, but I would love to just get like a pod of you guys, like 4 or 5, and let's just play some games. But first, before we go into that, I wanted to show you guys how to get the cards onto Untap so you guys can play. So first things first, if you haven't already joined the Dreamscape TCG Discord channel, please make sure you do if you want to play, or even if you just want to get some updates about how I'm doing or like what cards. I have been showing some future cards on the channel. I'm very active on there, so I just love talking to you guys and chatting it up. But first, in order to play the game online, you're going to need to go to the Dreamscape Discord. And when you're in the Discord, I have a bunch of channels to the left side. I was really particular and I really wanted to make this as organized as possible because that's just who I am and the type of person I am. So I prefer everything being organized and structured. So if you go to the left side channel, you should be able to see a card database. And in the card database, there's a database hub in which I just recently put a photo of all the updated cards that you can get in each of the foundation decks. And these are the set list for the foundation decks, so when the actual product does release, these are the cards that you can expect to be on it with every deck. But it's kind of for now just as a reference, so if you do want to build the foundation decks, which are already in the order for the foundation decks, you can just have it as a reference, test play it, so that when you get the physical version you can test play it. But it was more so just to give you guys like some insight of all the cards in the game. So this is the database hub, and then next to it, or underneath the database hub channel, is deck discussion. If you guys like have any questions or like kind of just a feedback of you guys' decks, if you guys have any like want any recommendations from other players, this is what primarily this discussion is going to be for. But other than that, let's get into the actual decks themselves. So if you go underneath the foundation decks category, I have these like a little emojicon on there. But if you are able to copy these deck lists and insert them into Untap, and then you'll have every single foundation deck in there. And even if you wanted to, I think I have a deck in Untap where I include every single foundation card, primarily just to see, so it's easier for me that I can just copy and paste the code from later on. But I already copy and pasted every single foundation deck list underneath this foundation deck tab. So for example, if you want to play with the Rusted Dawn, you can just copy this entire one, copy it for later, and then we're going to go into Untap in a bit and then show you how to paste it in there. Alright, just a little quick correction, because after I had some trouble, which is interesting because I never had an issue like this before. When you go to copy and paste the deck, I would just recommend doing these separately. So you would copy paste this, and then you would do the tokens later on. A lot of decks don't require tokens, so when you're copying and pasting the decks, all you gotta do is the top card all the way to the first card, copy it, and then you're gonna paste it into Untap, which I will show you how to do right now. So Untap.in does have a browser support, but they also have the ability where you can download the app. I personally just downloaded the app because I kept getting these like annoying notifications, so I just ended up downloading it and I stopped getting notifications. But that doesn't matter, you can play on browser or download the app. And now that you are in Untap.in, and as you can see, I already have the first 5 foundation decks, my Realm Rumble deck, as well as some set 1 stuff. The first thing we're going to do is go to this create a deck option, and then select custom CCG. And then you're going to name this whatever you want. So I'm going to name it foundation deck 1. Now that you are in the deck menu, it seems a little bit complicated, and it was for me when I was first looking at it. But all you're going to do is, since you copied the codes from the Discord, you're going to go over to this paste deck option, click that, and then in your main deck, you're going to paste the codes that I provided in Discord. And then it's simply after that, it's just import cards. And as you can see, you will have every card from the foundation deck. and this is specifically digital realm, so this will have card 1 all the way to card 22. So this is just primarily getting you guys set up on how to put the cards into from Discord to Untapped. However, you are not limited to only making or only ever using these decks. I would love for you guys to make your own decks, kind of just combine different realms with each other. It can be a little bit difficult depending on the amount of cards you have, especially for even just 2 realm decks right now. But I think with future support and everything, it's going to be a lot easier. But I do have a lot more fun when it comes to making 2 realm decks rather than just staying with the mono one. The mono decks, obviously you're going to get a bit more consistency, but when it comes to 2 realm decks, that's when you're able to mix up different flavors, and it's just a lot more fun in my opinion. But now that you have your deck pasted in, remember to copy, or not to copy it, but remember to save it. And now you have the foundation deck forever in your untap until you decide to delete it. And in my case, I'm going to delete it right now because I have it under Cyber Rain right here. Cool, so now that you have your foundation deck, what do you do now? Well, with this game and it having so far 112 different cards, make your own decks, have fun with it like I just said. As an example, I made this one for Realm Rumble, which is the multiplayer format, and this is a purple-green hybrid deck, and I still am test playing it just to get a bit more consistent, but trust me when I say it's a lot more fun to mix these up rather than just playing this mono decks, which are still fun and they are structured in a way that they work a lot better and obviously a lot more consistent. But I just find like building your own decks in this game is, of course, it's going to be so much more fun rather than playing the constructed format. Like I said again prior, the database hub is here for you guys to see every single card in the database, and I will be including all the cards from the sets into here, so you're able to just see the name and then kind of pick and choose, maybe write down what cards you want in your deck, and then under this deck, foundation deck, this is where the foundation decks will be. And then I'll probably make its own channel is the set 1 cards, so you guys are able to copy and paste the cards from set 1 into Untab and then build your own decks from there. And now I just want to move over to the how to play channel, and this is where I have pretty much all the rules, anything updated. The entire rulebook is up here for you to see, but I kind of just want to go over some specifics and just to try to clear up just any confusion that people might have. So first and foremost, your Dreamscape. How does it work? And I feel like I went pretty in depth with it in the video, but it is really as easy as it reads. Whether you're playing in person or untapped, your Dreamscape is compiled of these 5 cards, especially if you're playing 1v1, it's 5 cards that you set aside. I play in the face down pile for now, and then whenever your life point reaches certain thresholds, you are able to draw a card from your Dreamscape. This is primarily to eliminate a little bit of just inconsistency that you might try to make your deck around. Maybe you have some specific pieces that you need are in your Dreamscape zone. If you really need them, you're going to have to go down life points in order to get that. So as an example, we're going to do the top 5 cards and we're going to put them in, especially in Untab. What I do is I play them face down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, sorry, gotta hit myself. And these cards are face down. And I'm gonna put my health to 25 or so. So you either put them in your face down pile or just off to the side, which is what you would do in person. So let's just draw some cards as well. Okay, so pretty much whenever you take damage directly to your health, you're going to be able to draw cards from your Dreamscape. So the first threshold is 20, the second is 15, third is 10, fourth is 5. And as you can see, you can only ever draw 4 out of the 5 of your cards from your Dreamscape. And the last card, you can either decide to put it in the bottom or the top, or yeah, I believe it's the bottom or the top of your deck. That's primarily how you are able to access your Dreamscape. Again, it isn't really complicated. I know through text it might seem a bit like that, but in the case of this one, say I went down to 20, there we go, I'm able to now access my Dreamscape. And in Untab, what I do is you can lay them out like this, and then unfortunately, because it is a simulator, it's going to take a bit longer to do. So you have to go, reveal to, and then specifically yourself. And an important thing to note too is when you are able to see your first 5 cards because you're going to be drawing it from because your life points went down. These are forever permanent to you, so you're always able to see what cards are in your Dreamscape after you draw your first card. So let's say I want to keep this Lockjaw. I put the Lockjaw in my hand, and then the rest go back into a pile back in my Dreamscape zone. We now have 4 remaining cards. So again, you do this every single time you reach a threshold. If your health goes above a threshold and then back down, you don't draw another card. You only get a card from specific thresholds. So it's not like I go back to 25 and then go back to 20, I draw another card. It's specifically only 20, 15, 10, and 5. Alright, the next point I wanted to point out was how to play realmless as well as realm specific prime cards. So in Dreamscape, the game consists of these core figments and these prime figments. And the main way you're able to tell difference is core figments obviously say core on the top, and then prime figments have a realm icon. Either 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, we'll see if we get there. So the way you play these is you need, first of all, a core figment. And that's why I say these are so important to the game, and especially when it becomes like to deck building. If you don't have enough core figments, you're never going to be able to play prime or even power cards. So you can only ever play one of these core figments once per turn. So I'm going to put this back where my Dreamscape was. And let's just say that this is our starting hand. So we have 2 core, we have Brinewick, and we have Chalaza. And then we have 3 prime figments. And then we have 2 power cards, which we'll put that over to the side. So usually during wave 1, you don't draw a card for the first player, but let's just say we were the second. We're going to draw 1 card, and that is a relic. Put that over here. The first thing you want to do, obviously play prime, or play core figment. I would try to put at least one every turn, because if you don't, it's detrimental. Like, there's been times where I've been playing with my friend and I haven't been able to draw a core figment like in 3 turns, and I just had to take the damage because I knew if I lost that core pigment I wouldn't be able to do anything. So definitely have these in your hand at all times, and also play them as frequently as you can. Of course, if your opponent's deck revolves around killing your core pigments, then you might want to hold back, but in most cases you're always going to want to play 1. And for core pigments, you're only allowed to play 1 per turn from your hand. If it's from an ability, you can bypass that, but when it comes to playing cards from your hand, you're only ever allowed to play 1 core figment once per turn. So without making it too complicated with this one, we're going to play our Brinewick. So core figments, or any figment for that matter, always comes in fatigued, and by fatigued, it comes in tapped. Fatigued figments can defend, but that is the only thing they're able to do. They can't activate abilities, and they can't attack. And in terms of the activated abilities, it's specific. The only one that doesn't apply is the ongoing effects, which it has like a 1 or 2% icon. But I already covered that. I feel like I did that well in the rulebook, so I won't go over that specifically. But for in this case, Brinewick, since it's our first core figment for the turn, he enters fatigued. Now, let's just say he moved on to our turn. We will untap our figment, and now he becomes active. Active means he's able to be, prime figments are able to play on top of him. You can channel him for realm essence, attack, and use his ability. But since it's the beginning of our turn, we have to untap over figments and cards, and then we will draw another card. So as an example, just for the video, I'm just going to play this figment, but not use his ability, just pretend it's a non-ability figment. He enters fatigued, and now we have Brinewick, who is active. We are able to play a prime figment if we had one, which we do, and we're able to use power cards if we want. For this example, and since we actually have these 2, I want to play this Weeping Stratum. And in order to do that, you need to look at the top right and see how much realm essence it costs. And on the top right, it is specifically a Valith realm essence, and only 1 at that. And since we have Brinewick, we can channel him for his essence. When you channel figments, specifically core figments, they only give you 1 essence of that realm. But if it was a prime figment with 2 realm icons, then it would channel for however much essence that realm is, or that figment has. So if it was 1 Valith and 1 neutral, then you would only ever get 1 neutral and 1 Valith realm essence from that figment. But we want to play Weeping Stratum. It costs 1 Valith realm essence, so in order to play it, we need to channel our Brinewick. Channel figments and fatigue figments are different. this channel Figment, can't use his ability no more, whether that's a tap or essence one, but he's still able to attack and defend. So since we channel him, let's just imagine that we have one Valith Realm essence to the top right over here. We are now going to spend that essence on Sweeping Stratum. So that essence goes away and we have 0 now, but we do have a relic on our board. So that is pretty much the basics of how you play power cards. For example, if we wanted to play Shard Finder, we first of all wouldn't be able to. We would only be able to fill in the Realmless icon or the Realmless essence, because for that one you can use any essence to pay for it. But in order to play the Shard Finder, we need one Wildra Realm essence, which can only be obtained from channeling a Wildra Realm or via a relic, which the Wildra Realm does have access to. But let's just say hypothetically we had Gylith, and let's just say hypothetically this is our board right now. In order to play Shard Finder, we would need to channel our Gylith and our Brinewick, and then we would then be able to play Shard Finder, activate his abilities, and discard it, specifically because this is a spell card. Anything with this little gray box is again realmless, so you're able, or just neutral in general, so you can use any realm to satisfy this payment. And again, it is very important that you have core figments, because even if we didn't have these prime figments, we would still be able to pay for this power card. And if we didn't have any core figments in our deck, we couldn't play a single card in our deck. So that is why it's very important to have these core and a lot of them in your deck, so you're able to play your prime figments as well as your power cards. So on the topic of playing prime figments, how do we do that? So let's just say we had these 3 core figments on our field. And we have a Gylith, our Venombind, and our Zenspora. In order to play a prime figment, you need the specific realm card, or the specific core figment, or even prime figment underneath the card that you want to play. That was probably a terrible way of explaining it, so we'll just break it down simply. Anything with a realm specific icon figment wise, you need to stack it with the appropriate realm. So we cannot use a Brinewick or Chalaza to play our Gylith or Zenspora, because they require a Wildra realm figment specifically in order to be stacked underneath of it to play it. However, we have our Grove Wisp, which we can then use it in order to play our Gylith. And usually in Untap, what I do is I just put the Grove Wisp to the side and then put the Gylith, which would enter Fatigued, by the way, since all figments enter with Fatigue, even prime figments. But if you're playing the actual card game, you would just simply, you would just simply put the Gylith on top of the Grove Wisp. But since the interface on Untap kind of gets funky a little bit, I just put it to the side. And it is, why is it doing this? It is very important to never discard this card, especially with decks that revolve around your graveyard. Cards that you stack aren't discarded. They are part of the stack and they don't go into the discard until that figment is discarded. Very important, especially if you have cards that recur core figment specifically from your discard to the field. This Grove Wisp isn't destroyed and sent to the discard until this Gylith is. And we're going to do it again. So we want to play this Lockjaw. It requires one Valith Realm to be in order to part of the stack, as we can see on the top right. So we are going to put our Brinewick to the side, because we're going to play our Lockjaw, I'm just going to put that Fatigued, which would be Fatigued, and then we can untap it during our next turn. So in the case of anything with a realmless icon or just a neutral realm icon, you can use any figment to stack and play it. So as our Venombind, as you can see on the top right, it has a realmless icon or neutral icon, which means we can use any figment from any realm in order to play it. So look at that, we have one Chalaza left, so we're going to put him to the side. And because our Venombind has a neutral realm icon, we can use our Valith Realm figment as part of the stack in order to play Venombind. And which again, in this case, he would be entered Fatigued. So all of these would be if we played them all in the same turn. Which, yes, prime figments, you are allowed to play as many as you want during your turn, and core figments you're only allowed to play one of. So if you had if you had all core figments on the field and you had 4 prime figments in your hand, you can technically play all 4, but just keep in mind they would enter Fatigued, tap, and they couldn't use their abilities unless it's an ongoing effect, and it can't attack, and it can still defend, but it can't attack or be used for realm essence. Alright, as part of an example, I'm just gonna untap all these. To illustrate this next point is playing anything with more than 2 realm icons, which is just the same as you playing a regular Figment. However, also just keep in mind, even if you wanted to use like Gylith to summon one Valith realm icon, you technically could use another Prime Figment. So say we had a Venomvine on the field previously, I could stack Gylith on top of Venomvine, and then I would just move Venomvine to the side, obviously, and use it to play the Gylith. So it doesn't require specifically only core figments. You are allowed to use any figment in order to satisfy the need of the Prime Figment. But now in this example, and really easy, we have Goldblade Fiend, and he requires a Valith Realm and Neutral Realm in order to play. And in this case, let's just say we are going to use our Lockjaw because he is a Valith Realm, and we're going to use our Venomvine because he is, not only is he a Wildra Realm, he's a Wildra Realm Figment, he's also satisfies the need of the Goldblade Fiend, which is any realm. So we're going to not sacrifice, put him to the side. Player Goldblade Fiend, and he enters. Oh my. There you go. He enters fatigued. And also important to note, yes, so we stacked. Okay. Anyways, what I was going to say is we had Venomvine on top of Chalaza, and then we also had Lockjaw on top of Brinewick. Because we stacked Goldblade Fiend on top of Venomvine and Lockjaw, that does mean that the entire stack is all underneath Goldblade Fiend, and those cards do not go to the discard, they remain on the side or underneath the figment until destroyed. So just also keep that in mind. Any figments that you stack or continue to be stacked of a new card do not go into discard. They always remain on the side until, let's say, our Goldblade Fiend dies, and all these cards would go to the discard after that. Last little thing, which can apply to multiple cards, is relics and items specifically. So let's untap him. So with items and relics specifically, they do not go in your discard after playing them. Same with the seal. The seal is a bit easier to understand because when you play it, it's just an ongoing effect that resolves until it is destroyed. But specifically relics and items, you resolve the effect via another method. So for this Weapon Stratum, it says tap, sacrifice a figment you control, target figment gets -1/-1. So not only we have to tap this card, we have to destroy the card, and then we can resolve its effect. And for like another relic, which let's just say we played Golden Goblet after we paid for its cost. The same will go for items. We paid for its cost, and then it has a second activation that we must fulfill in order to activate it. Another like basic common one is, I believe, the Training Sword. It is 1 to play and then 2 to attach. So let's just say I already had the Training Sword played. I would need to tap 2. I can then attach the Training Sword onto Gylith. This is a relic I know, but I'm just saying this is a Training Sword as an example. And of course, in terms of damage and how it goes, really easy too. The attacking player is choosing to attack the other player directly, and then the defending player decides whether they want to declare blockers or not. If they don't declare blockers, they take the amount of damage, which is on the left side of the card, to the player's life points. So in this case, I was attacking Gylith and Goldblade Fiend. My opponent would take 7. Then going to below, obviously 20, they would draw a card from the Dreamscape. And then after battle, these would be exhausted. Which I just do is I just put them face down. That way you and your opponent know that these figments are unable to attack, defend, use their abilities until the player's untap phase, which they can then flip these up and then untap them. So yeah, exhausted figments and relics, once they are exhausted, they can't defend, they can't attack again, they can't use their abilities until that player's untap set. In terms of if a player is declaring blockers, let's just say I'm going to attack with Goldblade Fiend, and then my opponent decides to block with Gylith. What you do is they do damage simultaneously, so the Goldblade would attack first, and then the Gylith would defend. The Goldblade does 4 damage to the Gylith, which only has 4 health, so it would kill it, and the Gylith does 3 damage to Goldblade Fiend, which would only do 4, which isn't enough to kill the Goldblade Fiend. So in this case, the Gylith would die, the Goldblade Fiend would still be alive, be at 4 life points until the end of the turn. So if the player has a damage effect and you can quickly do damage to them, if it's 4, you can go for it. You can kill the Gold Blade Fiend. But after the battle step, then all damage goes back, all the health goes back to the original health, and that's just kind of how you attack with each other. So again, another example, I have Zenspora. Let's say I want to attack, let's say in this case both players have Zenspora. I decide to attack with Zenspora, the other player decides to defend with Zenspora. Since they are both 4/4s, they would kill each other, so they would both be sent to the discard after the turn, and that's how I would do it. Damage doesn't go over an opponent's or a figment's health, so say like if my Gold Blade Fiend was a 7/7 attacking a Guyolith, 3 damage wouldn't carry over to the player unless it's an effect that says so. Yeah, that's pretty much what I can think of. Again, if like Gold Blade Fiend was a 3/7 and the Guyolith is still a 3/4, the Gold Blade Fiend couldn't kill the Guyolith and neither could the Guyolith kill the Gold Blade Fiend, means that both figments are just safe in that case. However, the Gold Blade Fiend after battle, and just like any other figment that does declare battle, would be exhausted. And the last thing for this video is just a little bit going over the deck rules. For now, I think I have it is 3 copies for common, 3 copies for rare, 2 for prism rare, and 1 dream rare, specifically for figments. And then power cards, I believe it is 3 common, 3 rare, and then, or 2 rare, and then 1 prism, 1 dream rare. This might change in the future. This is kind of just what I have now, and it's specifically, like, in a sense, kind of a way to ban without like strictly banning cards, but it also allows me to like heavily put a bunch of, I don't know, make one card extremely powerful. However, it's already limited to 1, and that's with the cards up for set 1. I'm already making them, and they are super powerful. However, you can only have 1 of them in the deck due to the deck constrictions. So I already have it in the Discord and like a little visual of it. But when you are building your decks, stay with these rules in mind, and just make sure that on the bottom of the card it has a little triangle dude, which is the rarity, but it's also to tell you how many copies of a card you can have in your deck. But like I said, I want you guys to have fun building your own decks. I want to see like mixtures of stuff that I never thought were possible. And for this deck specifically, this is my Realm Rumble deck, which is from the multiplayer format. I have, because usually in the foundation decks I only include 1 prism rare of that realm, I have 4 in this case. I have 2 of the Gold Blade Fiends and 2 Velos Runewalkers. And then I have a lot of 3-ofs, obviously, a bunch of relics in this deck because this one's relic specific. Even the relics are the prismatic cards, is what I call them, just the neutral power cards that you get in every foundation deck. I have 3-ofs of some copies. I have 3 replaces compared to the 2 that you get in the regular foundation deck. I just really want you guys to have fun. I'm really interested to see what kind of decks you guys pull off using the card pool that I have so far, but as well as the future card pool with the future set 1 that I plan to release soon. And the last thing I think I want to talk about in this video, because I do want to keep it short, I don't want to keep it so long, because I do plan to make a how to play video soon for this game. This is mostly just this little setup, as well as just clearing some things that I think people might get confused by, are the multiplayer rules. Right now, I have each player starts with 40 life, and then you have 8 cards in your Dreamscape compared to the 5, and then the life thresholds are 35, 30, 25, 20. Guys, I think you guys get it by this point. You start with 7 cards in the hand. The first player does draw on the first turn because there are 4 to 5 players. And very important in comparison to the 1v1, you're allowed to play with up to 8 figments instead of the usual 4 in 1v1. This has led to some crazy plays when I played even just 1v1 with these rules in mind against my friend. We were able to do a lot more, especially since we had a lot more Rob Essence and a lot more like rare cards and just prime figments on the field in general. It does get a little crazy, but it is really fun to play like that. And in terms of deck constrictions, I think what I want to do, and I think I have to update it on the Discord, is I want the decks to be between 90 to 100 cards. And I say that because my friend was using a foundation deck while I was using this specific deck that I made for Realm Rumble, and he decked out quite fast, especially because with his deck he was just drawing a whole bunch of cards. He ran out of cards really fast, but because we were just having so much fun, we were deciding, you know what, we're gonna get rid of, like, if you run out of cards in your deck, you lose. And we just kept playing, and that game lasted forever, but it was just a bunch of fun. So I do highly recommend making decks 90 to 100, and I might even move that up to 100 card decks specifically, because in formats like multiplayer and MTG, I do have a champion system in my game. I haven't revealed anything like that specifically on YouTube, because I do want to probably make that its own dedicated video, but there are like hero type cards in the game that have different summoning mechanics than their regular figments in the game. So yeah, that was just a video on how to get set up and how to play Dreamscape. Some of the rules that might confuse players, and just the rules specifically for the multiplayer format. And again, if you guys have any feedback, if you guys need to say anything, any questions regarding like how the game works and just anything like that, feel free to leave down a comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But I do want to see you guys. I really just want to start playing this game online, and I also want to test the multiplayer format with you guys, because with me and my job and what I do, even before when I was making card games, I made games specifically for multiplayer like formats, and that's kind of the way I like to play games. As much as I do love the 1v1, I do love the social aspect of multiplayer, and that's where I want to take this game. Obviously still future 1v1 elements, but I really do want to get to like making even specific cards, champion cards for multiplayer format, while also supporting 1v1. So I just want to thank you guys for listening and watching this video, and I hope you guys found this video informative. If you guys again have any questions, leave them down in the comments section. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I can't wait to see you guys play the game, and I also want to hop in with some games with you guys if possible. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, if you guys do enjoy the channel. If you're new here on my channel, I do have a bunch of videos showing my process of the game, and I do have a Patreon. If you guys would like to help and support me, I just upload the kind of what I'm doing for the week of this week, and it is different than my usual content that I've been posting on this YouTube page. It is related to a sewing project that I'm going to work on. But if you guys do want to support that, hop on Patreon. Thank you to my Patreon members, Mythic Guardians. Thank you so much for helping me and supporting me. And join the Discord if you guys haven't already. A bunch of people getting on there, and I want you guys have all the deck lists for all the foundation decks. So every card in the first 5 decks are on there, so you guys can get ready and just get hopping in some games. So again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the love and support, and I've been seeing an influx of subscribers. So I hope you guys been enjoying the videos, and I'll see you guys in the next Dreamscape video. Peace out, guys.